Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to part 2 of this storage bin collection. Just got done at the comic store picking up some $1 books at a $1 sale, so I got a whole 2 short boxes full of more comics, but enjoy part 2. Hey, what's going on, comic book community? Here is part 2 of our first file bin back issue showcase of my collection of some key issue books, some signature books. I hope you guys checked out part 1. In part 1 we showcased a lot of books signed by Brian Michael Bendis, some key issues, some just whatever was being written at the time, including Civil War II. And some of those Civil War II books have some key appearances or key storyline points that have ramifications for the rest of the Marvel universe going forward since then. And of course, stuff that we can speculate for upcoming MCU events that they might want to harken back to. So we're going to go with part 2 here and continue rambling about my collection. Hope you guys like what you see. All right, first up here, this is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 15. I believe this is the volume 4 run where Alex Ross was doing all the covers. This is a issue 15 variant, a Michael Turner sketch variant. I think I bought it for 25 bucks because Michael Turner is one of my favorite artists of all time. A lot of people love Michael Turner, you know, rest in peace to him. Next up, in this box, I guess, there's no significant value with this book. It's just one of the variant covers that they were doing at the time. So X-Men issue number 11. This is the evolution of Kitty Pryde. They did this for almost all the majority of the X-Men characters. I have all of them. For some reason, this one for Kitty was sitting in here, so happy to see that one though. I don't know where the other ones are, and hopefully we can find them. Speaking of Kitty, here we go. Another signed book from Brian Michael Bendis. So it looks like a lot of these books here are the signature books from Mr. Bendis here. This is issue 6 of All New X-Men. I really liked this run when Beast called back the original X-Men into the present. So for me, it was a very, very fun run. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, that book was turned the other way around. All right. X-Men issue number 1, signed by Mr. Bendis. Number 1 issue, of course, the return of the original X-Men team into the present continuity. And again, another number 1 signed by Bendis. Again, you can see I came back the next day. One of them was the red pen ink, and the other one was the black pen ink. So both of them are signed, which is really cool. Same convention, we picked up a variant edition for Spider-Man Deadpool issue number 1. This book runs about $35 to $50. As you can see, Amazing Comic Convention variant there. Art by the incomparable Rob Liefeld, whether you like him or not. DC Rebirth issue number 1. I guess I thought at the time, as you can see, ordering it from mycomicshop.com, that it was going to be a big book. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it is sitting in this bin. Here we have issue number 2 of Y the Last Man. Just got signed off to be a show on FX, so really looking forward to that. Brian Michael Bendis. Brian K. Vaughan is one of my favorite comic book writers of all time. A lot of people love Mr. Vaughan, and we share a name. So here we have Y the Last Man issue number 3. So I don't have issue 1, but I do have 2 and 3. So they definitely needed to be put in Mylar because it's a very, very good series. Low print run too. Harley Quinn issue number 0. It's got a little bit of spice on it for being Harley's second full series, I believe. We have Thief of Thieves issue number 1. This one was signed by Ryan Kirkman. Came to Hawaii for Amazing Comic Con, so definitely had to give him some books as well. More signed goodness here. We have Mr. Scott Lobdell on Teen Titans number 1, New 52. Glad to have the signature. And one more Scott Lobdell signed book. This one is a key issue that a lot of people like. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 1, first print. Good to have a signature on this. Again, you know, I touched up on it on the first video here, or part 1, where I wish I would have gotten more of these books actually verified there at the convention to send to CGC. But you know, at the time, it wasn't a priority. This is the second print, number 12, Justice League New 52. First time Wonder Woman and Superman kissed each other. At the time, it was kind of a significant moment. So, oh, there we go, sticking together here. Wonder Woman issue number 1, New 52, great book. Really was a fan of that series by Brian Azzarello. Okay, yeah, these should not be sticking together. Interesting. Okay, Harley Quinn issue number 1, Amanda Conner, Jimmy Palmiotti, Chad Hardin. This one's fun. We have issue 100. I think this is the C cover of Invincible. It's signed by Kirkman. I think Ryan Otley. I think I put it on the back. Ryan Otley signature as well. So that was really cool. Corey Walker was at the convention too, but of course he wasn't a part of that. Part of the book later in the series. Justice League issue number 1. Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, New 52. Big deal in 2011 when it came out. Big deal. All right, this is what I was kind of alluding to with the other Invincible book. This is issue number 25. First appearance of Science Dog, I believe his name is, right? So we have Ryan Otley, Corey Walker, I can't tell you which one. Robert Kirkman, and I think Bill Crabtree signed it as well. So that's 4 signatures on that book, which is really nice. They were all at the convention, had to get their signatures. Here we go, another Justice League number 1, signed by Jim Lee. Some big names coming over to Hawaii, which is really nice to see. So Revival issue number 4. I guess at the time I thought these books were highly sought after, so I put them aside. These ones aren't in Mylar, by the way. Issue number 3 there. Very good noir, like horror thriller comic book, by the way. Issue number 2. First printing, by the way. I think that went to second and third printings for number 2. And number 1, Revival. Actually, I think the number 1 is going for a decent amount. And another high point here is that this is Jenny Frison, one of my current favorite comic book artists right now. And a lot of her work is actually highly sought after, actually. We have Nemesis issue 1. This is the variant from Lauren McNiven's book right after Kick-Ass. This book is violent, it's dirty, it's raw. Really liked it because, you know, the villain actually wins. That never happens, right? So there's a variant edition for that. Show was supposed to come of it, but I think it got scrapped or just forgotten about. Sex Criminals issue number 1. Very good book here. Chip Zdarsky, Matt Fraction. Zdarsky was drawn at the time, but he's probably one of the better writers right now. So I'm glad that he's got Stillwater going. He's currently writing Daredevil for Marvel. Good stuff. Captain America number 1. We all know what happened at the end of this book. The 2 famous words that Cap said out loud. So at the time, big deal. I think it's gone down in price though. Nobody's specking on that book right now. We have Star Wars issue number 2. Had to put that aside. That one's any Star Wars properties, of course, as you can see, Mandalorian sitting right there, is hot right now. We have Black Panther number 1. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Brian Stelfreeze. Brian Stelfreeze is one of the all-time great comic book artists. Shout out to black content creators. So just some of the best right here. And for Coates, I hope I didn't pronounce your name incorrectly. I might have. See some color rubbing going on right there. That's unfortunate, but Black Panther number 1. Star Wars number 1. This book is, I think the 7th or 8th printing of it is going for a lot of money, so be on the lookout for those late printings, of course. Lower print runs with those, and that's why those books skyrocket in price. But I think a lot of people who, you know, in 2015 were collecting Marvel, picked up this book. There's a lot of copies of it out there, but it's a good number 1 to have. Next up, Monstrous number 1, another very good book coming from Image. Marjorie Liu, Sana Takeda, who also did the X-23 run for Marvel in 2011. Big book right here. I believe once it picks up more traction, you know, people can spec on this one. Number one goes for about 30 bucks. Here we go, Spider-Man Deadpool number one in Mylar. Big book, pricey book, hard to find. And you know what? It's going to go up in price too because they have Vision number one in full in this book. So I think people need to keep that in mind when they're looking for that Vision number one. After WandaVision continues to just awe and surprise everyone. We got some early Bronze Age here with Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. It's issue 30 there. So at the time, these were like probably the oldest books that I owned and, you know, the coolest books. So that's why they were definitely in here. So we have issue 66. These aren't kind of in order for some reason. Issue 50. These are in great condition too. They look great. I mean, they're about 5.5s at best, but you know, for older books, you can't complain. You know, I wish that if I had them, they would have definitely been in better condition. But you know, such is the history of comics, right? Nobody knew back then. So there's issue 52. We have issue 67, issue 56. Issue 71, which isn't in Mylar yet, so it definitely has to move into Mylar. Issue 91. Issue 99. And is that it for, yep, and that's it for Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos before he had his own solo series as Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think this is the oldest Cap and Captain American Falcon book I have, so that's why it's in here. Issue 213 from 1977. I promise you, these bins get a little better. But it's kind of fun to see what's in here because sometimes I just kind of forget. I have so many books. I guess this is the last one here. All New X-Men issue number one. There's a Wolverine sketch on a blank variant cover. Not sure if that's even worth anything because Nunez is the artist on this. I think the Wolverine just looks super cool, harkening back to like an animated cartoon of the character. So I wanted to pick it up and add it to the collection. I'm starting to pick up a lot more blank variants so that I can hold them for future conventions and have artists kind of do their magic on these books. So thanks guys for tuning in to part 2 of our file bin comic book collection. Again, like I was saying, these are the books that back in the day I thought were the best books that I owned in my collection, so I wanted to put them in its own unique little case. These will probably move into a different comic book bin. I want to get one of the plastic black bins for some of the older books to, you know, just keep them in better condition, move them on to Mylar. I think 85% of this bin here is already in Mylar, so we're going to go ahead and do that to protect these books. So thank you for checking out this video. If you guys want more of this content, be sure to check out the channel, subscribe, like each video for more comic book content. And again, I'm going to drop in the description below the link to my comic book collection. It is all cataloged over at comicbookrealm.com. So if you guys click the link, head over to the series tab page. That way you can see every single book that I own in my collection, and it will list them all out and show you a picture. And from there you can just click the link and it'll bring you to the series page, and you can check the prices of what Comic Book Realm has them all priced for. I've been on CBR for 11 years now, ever since I started cataloging my books, and I'm just happy that there's one place for everything that is cataloged in my collection. Last video I said over 15,000 books. I think we're getting closer to 16,000 books in the collection. So it's high time to showcase what we have to the world and see if anyone is maybe interested in trading or selling some books to add to their collection, if there's anything that they're missing. So happy to barter and just continue talking comics with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.